So the most obvious part of what we do, I guess, is the most traditional, which is we put on shows and we produce new work. But even that has young people at the heart of the process. So the way the programme is worked is that 4 staff and 4 young people decide together what the public programme is. And we don't tell the public, it's not on our website or in the brochure, what shows have been programmed by young people and which shows have been programmed by me or the staff. It just becomes our programme. But by doing that, we get to see artists and even art forms that, as staff, we wouldn't be aware of yet. So to have young people from communities in the city going, we think this artist that we've just seen in some event or in a pub or at some kind of squat or an artist's event is actually the most exciting artist in the city at the moment. We'd probably only hear about that artist 10 years later once they've kind of made it in some sense. So it enables us to be a little bit ahead of the game in terms of the work that we're presenting. The other thing it does is make sure that the work we present does speak to young audiences. So we're not, as staff, going, oh, I wonder what a 19-year-old would think about the world. Actually, you just got a 19-year-old deciding what the programme is, and that kind of reads through into the programme, hopefully in an authentic way. And the same with commissioning work. So again, we're not a theatre structured around my ideas and my background and my taste. In fact, that's probably the least interesting thing about Contact. So we're commissioning work that again responds to young people's human rights, issues that they're facing in their lives, and kind of questions of representation. So what kinds of stories do and don't get presented in most mainstream arts contexts. And the work that comes out of that mix, things like Commonwealth show with young female Muslim boxers that we co-produced 2 years ago. That was a piece we showed in a working boxing gym in Moss Side. That's now been filmed by the BBC and broadcast. It went on iPlayer, it toured, went to Australia, it's done some amazing things, but started out as just this little idea of this kind of interest the company had in what was exciting and different about young female Muslims kind of boxing and getting their aggression out there. We co-produced a show last year with basketball players, directed by Benji Reid, text by Inua Ellams, that takes this idea of if you take the ball away from basketball, you've got dance. So it kind of played with the idea of basketball as choreography. We made a show about FGM, female genital mutilation, with National Theatre Scotland, and a Manchester artist, Yusra Warsama, interviewed women who have experience of the practice, but from every perspective, and even of a cutter. And communities where FGM is practiced, and activists and women who are fighting the practice as kind of from a human rights point of view and as a young people's rights issue, but also midwives and lawyers and healthcare professionals. And the result of that was this show, Rights. So I think the work we're producing is really distinctive in its kind of engagement with issues, but always from the perspective of people who have direct experience, not from my perspective on the issue.